A lot of you guys are now on your winter break, or you're just looking for some games to play over your holidays. Well, I've got you covered in today's video. We're going to be taking a look at 10 awesome PlayStation 4 games to play over your winter break. All of these games I'm recommending for a variety of different reasons. They come from different genres, but at the end of the day, all of these games are great, and I would highly recommend you to play them during your break or just whenever you get the chance. So without further ado, let's get started. And I want to start things off with No Man's Sky. This is, of course, a game that's been in the headlines quite a bit in 2018 because of all of the updates that Hello Games have been putting out. When you compare No Man's Sky in its 2018 form to No Man's Sky in its initial 2016 form, the difference is night and day. No Man's Sky is a far better game today. Is it perfect? No, but this is the game we really should have gotten at launch, and it's starting to realize the potential that a lot of us saw No Man's Sky having when it was originally announced. Hello Games also seems to be super committed to the game, so you're gonna be getting a lot of content going into the future, but the content that's available right now, that's gonna keep you busy for quite a while. And by the way, if you're looking to pick this game at a discount, GameStop has been selling copies of No Man's Sky brand new for just $9.99. I see the PlayStation Store has it for like $29.99. GameStop has the killer deal on this game, $9.99 over there, so you're not even investing all too much to get the game. And again, it's a far better game than what it was in 2016, and it's far cheaper as well, so No Man's Sky is an all-around winner. Another game I would highly recommend you guys to tackle, especially with the impending release of Kingdom Hearts 3. It is a great time to go back and play through the various Kingdom Hearts collections. That includes Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 Remix and Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Now, for newcomers to this series, or for those of you that really want to revisit the series from the get-go, you gotta start with the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 Remix. That'll include Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2. You'll also get Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and Ray Chain of Memories. HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue really sets the table for Kingdom Hearts 3 if you're familiar with the story of 1 and 2. With 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, you're getting Dream Drop Distance, which is a legitimate follow-up to Kingdom Hearts 2. I feel like a lot of people miss that. And then you also get a standalone, smaller experience that again sets the table for Kingdom Hearts 3. Whatever the case may be, if you're looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3, you gotta refamiliarize yourself with the franchise somewhat. And I think for a lot of us that did play Kingdom Hearts 2 all the way back in 2005 and we haven't visited the series yet, I think starting off with the 1.5 and 2.5 Remix would be your best bet. And even if you're not eager to pick up Kingdom Hearts 3 on day one, the value you get out of these collections is absolutely insane. I believe they recently just released a super collection with both of these collections, so you get everything in one package, and that's $40, and you're literally getting hundreds of hours of gameplay, so that is well worth it from a value standpoint. Moving on from that, I also want to give a mention to Far Cry 5. At this point late in 2018, Far Cry 5 is one of those games a lot of us have forgotten about. We just got the announcement of Far Cry New Dawn, which is essentially a standalone expansion to Far Cry 5. You don't even need to own Far Cry 5 to play that game. However, Far Cry 5 is a very good game that I feel like amidst all of the recent game releases with games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man, and even going back to games like God of War, I feel like after that trifecta of games, Far Cry 5 was forgotten about how good of a game it was. Was it revolutionizing the Far Cry franchise by any means? No, but what you're getting is a really well-made open-world action shooter. The content is there, the visuals are there. From a technical standpoint, it is great. You can find the game relatively cheap around that $25 range, so now would be a great time to check out Far Cry 5. Moving on from that, I also want to give a strong recommendation to Ratchet and Clank. I didn't want to just give recommendation towards games that you were going to sink a lot of hours into during this time period. You also just want to play some uplifting and charming games, and Ratchet and Clank definitely offers that. This Ratchet and Clank game on the PlayStation 4, while it's not a completely new game, rather it's a reconstruction of the very first game. It's a remake from the ground up, and it's a very good one at that, retaining all of the charming elements of the original Ratchet & Clank game while also evidently being a PlayStation 4 game. I mean, that's obvious from the get-go when you look at how this game looks. The platforming is still on point, the story is great, and it's a very humorous game, and this is another title that you can get relatively cheap. It is a PlayStation Hits title now, so the base price is $19.99, but you can easily find it on sale for $9.99 or even less. It was a PlayStation Plus title back in March as well, so a lot of you guys might already have it, but if you haven't checked it out yet and actually given it a playthrough, now would be a great time to do so. Also, definitely want you guys to play Dead Cells. Dead Cells was probably one of the most surprising games of 2018. I think a lot of people saw the gameplay of Dead Cells and was expecting something pretty good, but what we got out of the game was absolutely tremendous. It's a very challenging game, but what Dead Cells gets right is that it's absolutely rewarding, and even though you're gonna die a lot, it keeps the game fresh and it always keeps you on your toes and always keeps you engaged, which is the most important part about a game, that where you're gonna die a lot and you're gonna go through similar levels over and over again, Dead Cells always keeps the pacing fresh and entertaining. Also, from a fundamental standpoint, visually, this game is outstanding. Gameplay has a lot of variety. I can't say enough good things about Dead Cells. The gaming community cannot say enough good things about Dead Cells, and if you have yet to play Dead Cells, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you should remedy that ASAP. The game is still at a pretty hefty price. Released at $25 on sale. You'll find it for maybe $20. It's only going 20% off or so. But for that price, it's absolutely worth it. I played around 40 hours of it, and I know people that have sunk over 100 hours into the game, so you can understand it's a very, very addictive game. Next up, for all of you guys that got your PlayStation 4 recently, this is one of the best PS4 exclusives of all time, and you've heard the gaming community gush about it, but I want to give a recommendation to Persona 5. I've talked about Persona 5 several times, but at this point, it was a game that released all the way back in early 2017. So if you were one of those people that maybe got the Marvel Spider-Man bundle, Persona 5 is one of those games that may have fallen under your radar. However, it's an absolutely tremendous game, and many would consider it to be the best JRPG of all time. A lot of times we'll make these hyperbolic statements about X, Y, or Z game being the best game of a generation or being the best game of this genre. With Persona 5, all of the acclaim that the game gets is absolutely worth it because it is just such a masterfully crafted game from every point of view. You look at the game's presentation, the visuals are stunning, the music is great, the gameplay, yes, it's an old school turn-based style formula, but they keep it fresh and modern and to keep it as engaging as ever. And of course, as is the case with any Persona game, the storytelling is top-notch, and then you've got a great cast of characters. I can't say enough good things about Persona 5. At this point, the price of the game is also finally coming down. You'll find it for around $25 to $30, and that's still pretty hefty given that it is, what, an 18-month-old game, but it is absolutely worth that price. It was easily worth the $59.99 price point, and it would probably be easily worth anything above that. It is a tremendous game and a game that is so easy to recommend, but this is a game that you're going to be sinking a lot of hours into, so just be warned, you're going to have to open up a couple of days for this one. Moving on from that, I also wanted to give you guys a recommendation of a great multiplayer title, and I went the cheap route. I want to give a recommendation to Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 was a game that we gushed about for a while back in 2016, and then whenever it does go on sale to $5.99, that's the standard price for Titanfall 2. It's so easy to recommend because this is such a good game that unfortunately did not do all too well from a sales standpoint because it was released around the same time as Battlefield 1. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, I believe, was released a couple weeks later, and a few months prior to Titanfall 2, we had the release of Overwatch, so it fell in the midst of all of those big game releases, and Titanfall 2 unfortunately was the one with the least name value, and it just didn't do all too well. However, you can make a legitimate argument that out of all of those games, Titanfall 2 is the best first-person shooter. It is a great game, and it really built upon the first title, and the first title never even came out on a PlayStation platform, but with Titanfall 2, you get a quality single-player campaign, and the multiplayer has so much more depth to it, and Respawn did a great job for a while of keeping this game updated, adding more content to it, and it's still a pretty active experience, and given that you're only paying $6 for it, even if you bought Titanfall 2 and just wanted a quality single-player campaign, you would get that, but then you also get a very in-depth multiplayer component as well, and for the price, it is a great experience. I know everybody at this point are talking about games like Call of Duty Black Ops 4, maybe you're jumping into Red Dead Online, but if you want a quality multiplayer experience, Titanfall 2 will have you covered, and it'll have you covered at a very low price. Moving on from that, I also want to give a shout to the Assassin's Creed Ezio Trilogy. Yes, Assassin's Creed has been one of the long-running franchises. A lot of you guys checked out Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but for those of you that might be a little bit younger, for those of you that just want to visit the Ezio Trilogy again, the Ezio Collection is a great way to do so. Of course, this includes Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations. AC2 is considered by many to be the best game in the Assassin's Creed franchise. Brotherhood was very good as well. By the point of Revelations, I did think Ezio's story dragged on for a little bit too long, but Revelations was still a very good game, and the entirety of the Ezio Trilogy is just great. I mean, there's a reason why Ezio is so beloved, and many would consider him to be the best character in the entire Assassin's Creed franchise. But outside of the Ezio Collection, if you also haven't given Assassin's Creed Odyssey a look, at this point that game is relatively cheap. I believe on the PlayStation Store right now it's available for $29.99. So if you want to jump into that game, now's a good time to do that as well. But if you want to go back in time, the Ezio Collection is a great option as well, and I thoroughly enjoyed the entirety of Ezio's story. Moving on from that, I talked about how Ratchet Clank was this charming game. We'll have another recommendation of that line of thinking, and that is the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and of course I'll give the Crash Insane Trilogy a mention as well, as there is a bundle available for both of them. That's available on the PlayStation Store for around $49. But really, the star right now is the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. A lot of you guys played the Crash Insane Trilogy back in 2017. The Reignited Trilogy is a more recent release, and they did a masterful job recreating the original 3 Spyro games, and you're getting a sizable amount of content here. You're talking a 20-hour core experience across all 3 games. And while the games are as charming as ever and have that nostalgic feel, but at the same time, for a modern audience, they look fantastic. And if you just buy the Reignited Trilogy standalone, you're getting 3 games, and usually you can find the trilogy for around $30 and released at $40, but at this point it is going on sale pretty frequently. Also, the Crash Insane Trilogy is a great option. It just really depends on which franchise you're more nostalgic with. Personally, I'm more nostalgic with Spyro. Some of you guys are gonna feel that way about Crash, and for those of you that just want quality platformers, both of these games are gonna have you covered, because these games don't just rely on nostalgia, they're actually very, very well-made games, and that's why they're such easy recommendations and titles you should play over your winter break. And lastly, you guys know I have to give a Yakuza game a mention. Let's give all of the Yakuza games a mention. There's Yakuza 0, there's Kiwami 1 and 2, and then there is Yakuza 6. Now, Yakuza Kiwami was just offered as a PlayStation Plus freebie, so if you did get that, now would be a great time to start Yakuza Kiwami. Otherwise, checking out Yakuza 0 wouldn't be a bad option, and Yakuza 6 is a fantastic game as well. In terms of which game I would recommend the most for newcomers, well, that would be Yakuza 0. Yakuza Kiwami, while that was the first game ever released, do keep in mind that that is a remake of a PlayStation 2 game. Yakuza 0 is a little bit more recent, and as the title of the game would suggest, it's a prequel to Yakuza 1, so from a storytelling standpoint, you can enjoy that no problem. For those of you pretty familiar with Yakuza, I would give a recommendation to Yakuza 6. That is really the pinnacle of the Yakuza franchise. Great storytelling, the gameplay is as good as ever. And once you're done with Yakuza, don't fret, because now we can be looking forward to the Yakuza team's next title in Project Judge, which is looking incredible. But as of this very moment, give Yakuza 0 a look. If you already have a Yakuza 1 as a Plus subscriber, check that game out. And for those of you familiar with the franchise, it's time to give Yakuza 6 a look as well. And that is going to conclude this video, guys. I hope everybody is enjoying their winter break. I hope you have your happy holidays. And as we inch closer to the new year, of course, 2019 is going to be bringing with it some big games as well. But for now, make sure you check out all of these games. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.